it's Jasmine. So today I am going to be doing a different video. I actually thought about this concept last night right before I went to bed, and I thought, you know what, I have never really seen a video talking about this, and I've seen a lot of videos talking about which products are cruelty free, but never ones that discuss those that aren't. And I want to talk about drugstore brands in particular because that itself I feel like is already a lot. There's already a lot that I know that aren't cruelty free, and I just wanted to make this video so that we are all aware which ones are cruelty free and which ones are not. If you kind of don't know what that means, do they test on animals or do they not? And I want to see which brands still do test on animals. As you guys know, I am not 100% cruelty free. I am about 95%. I give myself a 5% leeway just in case somebody gives me a gift that's not cruelty free. I'm still gonna use it because it's a gift. Just in case we go on vacation and they bring something for the whole family, I'm not gonna make a big deal about, oh, they test on animals. You know, I give myself a little bit of leverage just in case in those circumstances. So I say 95. It's a good amount. It's still an A. So you guys really don't see me purchase anything from these brands in particular that I am talking about. Now, I always get my sources from this blog called Cruelty Free Kitty. I go to her blog whenever I need updates, frequent updates. She's amazing, and I highly recommend her blog post. Now, the first brand that I want to talk about that still tests on animals is Almay. First on the list, and this is very interesting because a few months ago, back in 2018, I did those little templates. You guys know how like that was kind of a trend. I did one, and I remember there was a question like, which brand do you not like? And I remember specifically saying, I don't necessarily not like this brand, I just never used it, and I tagged Almay. Then Almay saw the post and they followed me, and I was like, oh. And so they shot me a DM. They shot me a DM and they said, hey, we are so sad that, you know, you haven't tried anything from our brand. We are so excited for our new launches in 2019, etc, etc, etc. And then I proceeded to ask, is your brand cruelty free? And they said yes. They told me yes. So I went to Target, and I went to the Almay section, and I searched almost every product with my boyfriend, and I was like, babe, can you find the logo or words that say it's cruelty free? He couldn't find it, I couldn't find it, and I was just like, I don't even know. I don't know. Almay is in fact owned by Revlon, and it is sold in China. So if you're wondering about like, what does it mean if it's required by law? So if a company sells their products to mainland China, they have a law that requires the company to test on animals. So maybe Almay doesn't test on animals when they're sold in the United States, but as a company and as a whole, they do test on animals when required by law. So yes, they do. Now, another reason why I wanted to make this video was because a lot of you guys always ask me about L'Oreal, and you guys always want me to test out L'Oreal things and all this stuff, and the reason why I don't buy L'Oreal is because I know that they test on animals, and I researched that a long time ago, and till this day it still stays true that they are still testing on animals, and I genuinely, in the bottom of my heart, I don't think that they're going to be cruelty free anytime soon. It's just that they're such a big company. I believe they either own Estee Lauder or Estee Lauder owns them. Something like that. Something that like a big company owns them. And it is found that they are sold in China as well. So I don't know, I just feel like they're so big, they have such a big reputation, a big name, L'Oreal Paris. And so I don't know, it's weird to me, but at the same time, like that's another reason why I don't purchase them, because I just know that they do test on animals, but in circumstances like, oh, I have a L'Oreal foundation in my client kit that I use on other people. If it's running low and it's my shade, I will go ahead and use it just so that I could just toss it out. You know, circumstances like that, like I don't mind using L'Oreal, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to purchase it. And I purchased purchased that before I decided I am going to go full force in, you know, going into this cruelty-free realm. L'Oreal's sister brand Maybelline also tests on animals. I believe L'Oreal actually owns Maybelline. I think that's what I read somewhere. But nonetheless, the whole point is that they do test on animals, which is why I was so sad. Wait, okay, this was actually one of the most like debating reasons why I did not want to go cruelty free. It was so selfish because I have been an avid buyer and user of Maybelline. Maybelline was honestly, if you asked me what's your favorite drugstore brand, Maybelline, that would have been my first answer. I would have been like Maybelline concealers, their foundations, their mascaras, everything in the Maybelline line I loved. I was a Maybelline girl, and to find out like, oh my god, they're not cruelty free, I was like, do I really want to break off this relationship? And then I thought about it and I said, it's for the animals. It's for the animals, and that's the reason why I'm doing it, is because I don't condone in, you know, supporting a brand that just tests on animals. And it's just like, it's so heartbreaking because I miss my Maybelline mascaras. I miss them so much. I think about her and I think about all the great times we've had. I think about all the times I repurchased that damn Fit Me foundation. I swear to God, I think I purchased it like 10 times. Like, it's one of those brands that are so reliable, and it also has a really big name and reputation to it. And it just sucks. It sucks. Like, why do you gotta be sold in China? Like, why? Damn. It's really like that out here. I know we talked about Almay a while back, but they are owned by Revlon, and lo and behold, Revlon tests on animals as well. I mean, when I think of drugstore, I genuinely think of like Revlon, L'Oreal, Maybelline, CoverGirl. And, you know, CoverGirl is now cruelty-free, which I am so excited about. Hello! Like, oh my god, love that for us. But I think of those as like the top brands. Like, those are the kings of drugstore makeup for me, because, you know, like, what did you grow up with? Like, I didn't grow up with, you know, Wet n Wild, you know, I mean, I grew into it, but it wasn't something that really stood out to me, because, you know, when you see advertisements, you see them mostly for L'Oreal, Maybelline, CoverGirl, Revlon, and that's just what you're drawn to. So it doesn't surprise me that Revlon also tests on animals, because it's just like they want to be worldwide. You know, I feel like that's probably their intentions, is to be known worldwide. Everybody can get their products, and, you know, I think they're in it for the money. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, what if Revlon, L'Oreal, and Maybelline watch this video and they're like, we are never gonna put her on a PR list even if we go cruelty free? Tea. Another brand that is super surprising to me is Rimmel London. I used to be so obsessed with Rimmel London. Ooh, story time. So when I first started my channel, I bought these Rimmel foundations and I wanted to do a review on them, but they were so bad and so patchy that I just cut the whole video entirely and just did not upload it. But that's besides the point. I really did love Rimmel at one point. One point I wanted to own their whole collection. That's crazy. Like, I wanted to own literally everything, but soon to find out, they are owned by a brand called Coty. Now, Coty is a really big brand and they own a lot of other smaller companies as well, but I think it's crazy to me how there's always a trend. Like, the bigger companies that own these smaller companies, the smaller companies tend to try and match the business ethics of the bigger companies, and they always, like, I don't know, it's weird to me how smaller companies can't decide, or it's hard to decide whether they want to be cruelty free or not, because in my head, kind of like the whole Revlon situation, I feel like maybe they're in it for the money and maybe they want to be more recognized worldwide. So I don't know. I really want Rimmel to prosper, and I really want them to, you know, just not test on animals. Is that so much to say? Is that so much to ask for? But yeah, it's just so sucky, because just so many drugstore brands, just so selfish. So now that we got some of the makeup out of the way, I wanted to dive into skincare, because that skincare, oh my god, when I was on my journey to be more cruelty free, the skincare process was the hardest process. Like I could just take out a few things out of my makeup collection, whatever, use it up, whatever. But skincare, you don't know how many brands test on animals. It's crazy. Skincare and hair care. Oh my god, literally almost every brand from the drugstore tests on animals in that realm. So I am going to start off the list with the Vino. That's surprising because don't they advertise their things to be like natural, organic, good for you? Probably not organic, but like natural plant-based ingredients, right? Don't they? Because isn't their logo like leaves and then a Vino? Like, isn't that how they market? I don't know. That's just like I don't know. That's crazy. Another one that I was also kind of sad about was Clean and Clear, because I used to use Clean and Clear facial washes all the time. Clean and Clear. I was clean and clear, let me tell you that, but it wasn't clean to the point where they test on animals. That's not clean. That's not right. That's not, no, please save the animals, save the bunnies, save the mice. Wait, hello, man? I don't know. It's just like there's so many brands, excuse me. There are so many brands on the market that everybody buys. And, you know, not everybody is a label checker. Not everybody. And, you know, I was that person. Hell, if I went to Ulta and they had a Clean and Clear facial wash and it was 50% off or buy one get one free, I would snatch it up. Yeah, that was me, because honestly, these brands are affordable. They're drugstore, and like if you buy them at Ulta, you get points for them. Hello, that's amazing. But it's just so crazy to me that these brands that are so well known, that are used by so many people, are not considering animals at all. So I'm going to read you the list that is on here that's provided by Cruelty Free Kitty. Thank you, girl. Love you. So Clarisil, EOS. That's surprising too. Hello, EOS. Oh my god. Eucerin. I was talking about that with another subscriber the other day about Eucerin. And Eucerin owns Aquaphor. And I know everybody's been recommending me to use Aquaphor because I'm a chapped lady. But they both test on animals. Garnier, not surprising. And I don't really use Garnier because she gives me dandruff anyway, so it's fine. If you go to Ulta, there's a section where they have like French skincare, and Vichy and La Roche-Posay, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but when I was in Europe, I saw those brands and I was kind of skeptical about them, because I do believe that on the package it did say that they did not test on animals, but on here, on her blog, it says that they do. And I honestly trust her blog, because she always does updates and she always, you know, gets like the latest information. And so I appreciate that about her brand. She's very dedicated. And so to me, it was kind of like the Almay thing. Like, you hear that it says they don't condone animal testing, but here it is, like, you know, the fine print, they do. And that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, they just want that coins. Here we have Lubriderm, Neutrogena, Nivea, Noxzema, Olay, Ojon. I've heard of Ojon. Where is that? That's not a drugstore brand. That's definitely high-end. Oh my god. Pond's has been on the market for like 100 years. Pond's has been here literally since the beginning of like makeup in the United States. Like, here we have ROC Simple. Simple's another one. Simple. Oh my god. I used to be an avid user of Simple face washes too, because, listen, hear me out, because when I found out that Clean and Clear tests on animals, I said, let me use Simple, because they claim, like Aveeno, that they're made with good for you ingredients, all natural. But here they are testing on animals, and then I was like, damn, I just bought 4 bottles of this damn cleanser. Like, what do I do with it? And then I was just like, let me just use it all up and then like move on, because that's crazy. Like, you would think that like brands who market themselves as like being natural and good for you, like I said, you would expect them to be good for the environment too. Like, what? That's crazy. St. Ives, Vaseline. We're really gonna go that far? Vaseline? Like petroleum jelly? Like, what you gonna do? Like, what do you need to test on animals for? What do you need to test on animals for? Are you gonna put it on their nails? Like, what are you testing Vaseline on animals for? They don't need it. They don't need it. What are you doing? So I don't feel like looking at another article on Cruelty Free Kitty to talk about hair care, because the hair care journey for me is actually still in the making. I'm still trying to find really good hair care that's cruelty free, that's affordable, and that works with my itchy and dandruff prone hair. But I can tell you my journey about it and tell you guys what brands I have avoided and what brands still test on animals. Now, these ones are just going to be on the top of my head. Of course, a lot of hair care brands still test on animals, and that goes for Tresemme, Nexus, Dove, Garnier, like I said before, Herbal Essence. I used to be such a big Herbal Essence girl. Ooh. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head. Oh, Head and Shoulders is a big one, because I remember using it for my dandruff. That's a big one. Yeah, so those are just a handful of items and brands that I can tell you guys about. So what I want you guys to take away from this video is just be aware. I know not everybody wants to be cruelty free, because I understand like everybody has a budget, and I understand that, you know, sometimes what's cheap just may test on animals, and I get it, and I understand it, but I just want you guys to like understand, you know, if you know somebody that is trying to be cruelty free, maybe you can give them tips, maybe you can guide them a little bit, and I know that'll help them a lot. So I hope you guys all enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Peace out, Girl Scouts.